Today's video is all about mobile phone photo editing. Hi, my name is Chris and today I want to talk about the 3 photo editing tools I use on my iPhone. To give you a quick overview, the 3 apps I use mainly for photo editing are Lightroom, Snapseed and VSCO Cam. VSCO and Snapseed are free for the most part, where VSCO actually offers filters that you can purchase as well. So if you use Lightroom, Premiere Pro or Photoshop on your computer, you most likely have a subscription there and then you can use this as well. So let's dive right in. Why 3 apps? Well, all of these 3 apps do something very specifically different. Snapseed, for example, is very well integrated into the Photos app from Google, which I'm going to talk about in the next couple days as well. VSCO Cam, on the other hand, has amazing filters that are so beautiful I just have to have it on my phone to add some of those to some of the pictures I'm editing. And also I'm using the VSCO Cam filters on my computer, so that kind of helps me have a similar theme overall. And then I have Lightroom Mobile on my phone, and since I'm using Lightroom on my computer already, it is actually very useful to have it there as well, because all the filters I have in Lightroom are actually synced to the phone as well. One thing I personally don't use is the synchronized library, because for me, photos I edit on my computer mostly stay there, and I use the Lightroom on the phone mainly for photos that are actually taken on the phone. So the editing of raw photos is great in Lightroom, especially to have a solid base, and from there I often export the photos into the camera roll, and from the camera roll I then use either VSCO Cam or Snapseed to increase the photo quality even further before I start publishing it to Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. But now let's have a look into each of these apps with a photo I took last weekend. Here on the phone screen you actually see the Photos app that I'm using from Google, which is very helpful, especially in terms of backup storage and freeing up space on your phone, as well as searching stuff. But I'm going into detail about the Photos app in another video. What you can see here are the photos I took from the drone last weekend, and actually there are some of them already edited, like this one which I edited on my computer and then I put it into here again, but I have the original files from the drone as well, and I want to edit one of those here right now. So let's say I want to edit this photo here with Snapseed. It is actually very well integrated into the Photos app. You just hit this little 3 dots at the top and then you can say open in Snapseed, and it instantly takes the photo to Snapseed, and then you can start editing it right there. In Snapseed itself, you now have all kinds of different abilities. You can hit this little pen icon and then you have all kinds of different abilities to change stuff around. And I start out with tuning an image. Sometimes I just hit the auto tune, but it oftentimes doesn't really work out. But you have this very nice way of interacting with the interface. Just by scrolling up and down, you have all kinds of different settings. And for example, here I want to have a shadow increase even further. And I want to have some ambience, which makes it kind of an HDR look. And I also want to have a little bit more saturation, I would say. And the overall brightness could be increased a little bit. Yes. So let's just keep it right there and continue with some more stuff. For example, changing the white balance, also very important. You can just have a picker here and it actually changes live as you move this thing around. So you can see what the change may look like if you choose to have this kind of white balance. Let's say I want to have it automatic. This is kind of crazy. So I want to have a white balance that is more like this, and that looks good. And then I can also have a brush, for example, or the selective editing or the healing. And there are Snapseed's strengths. I really like how they implemented these. I really like how they work, and I really like that they are for free for everybody to use. Because healing, sometimes it's really necessary to fix some stuff. Maybe you want to get rid of some sign in the background of your photos, or in the sky some dark dots or birds that are randomly flying around. So this is actually very, very useful. Other than that, you can also add text, and they have the filters down here, which are also quite interesting and increase the photo quality if used correctly. I personally would say don't overuse these filters, because overusing filters makes photos crushed, and that doesn't really look good. So for example, I personally don't really like the whole drama or extreme photo effects here, for example. Those just almost never look good. With these filters, be careful, don't overuse them. They have a tendency to make pictures very beautiful, but also kind of extreme. So better not overuse them. But as well, Snapseed is definitely worth checking out. It is definitely an app you should have on your phone, especially since it's free and so well integrated into the Photos app from Google if you use that. I personally really like the effects you can get with it. I really like that you can also use, for example, these text things here. You can have all kinds of text layouts, and they have pretty much anything you want here. You can really make nice edits with Snapseeds. And not just that, you can also rearrange and revert those edits. You can view the edits and then you can just turn them on or off. You can just delete them, or you can also have certain edits that are just in certain areas. So you can, in the end, actually paint on the picture, and you can increase or decrease this effect. And on top of that, I just found out that they also added curves, which is really interesting because curves are some way to give different colors to your pictures in a very interesting way. And I think this looks really interesting, especially since they also added all the different kind of filters here, which only apply to the curves. And I think curve filters are impressively interesting. I really like them. I really like them in Photoshop. I really like them in Lightroom, and that they added this to the Snapseed is just incredible. I haven't seen this feature since I started using it, but it's really useful. I'm blown away. When you're done with this edit, you can do multiple things. For one, you can, for example, go into the setting on the top right here, and then you can view the edits, which I already mentioned, but you can also go in here and save the look and make that one of your presets. So you basically can say you want to save that. Let's say it's called test. And now if I go back to another picture, I can go into my looks, and then you see all your different looks, and you can actually apply that to your image. So basically you can create your own looks, and you can copy and paste them, or you can save them as presets and use them on other pictures. So this is very, very powerful, and it's free. I really like it and recommend it for everybody, and it is available for Android and iOS, so that makes it a no-brainer for everybody. Last but not least, you're not destroying your pictures, because if you hit save, you can either save them, you can save a copy, or you can export the image with permanent changes. I personally like save a copy, but I also do the normal save very often and just apply the changes to the picture, because in general I normally do just color fixes, and those should be applied to the picture itself. But if you do, for example, add text or something like that, you might want to save a copy. So now I have the copy here in my photos. I can just swipe right through them, and I can also just share the picture wherever I want. Now, if I want to edit the same picture in Lightroom or VSCO Cam, I can just do the same thing. I can open the picture. I have this little share icon to the lower left, and there I have import to VSCO Cam, which then brings up the opportunity to open it in Lightroom as well, right here. But in general, the Lightroom, I personally use it more for pictures that I actually take with the Lightroom app. So I just take the pictures in the Lightroom app, and that helps me just have the pictures right there. So now I have a picture in Lightroom. One thing about Lightroom that I'm already used to on the computer is that you can star or tag your pictures, which is really useful if you organize a lot of pictures and you want to choose the best ones. It is actually something that I'm missing on the normal Photos app. I am also missing it on the Photos app that comes with the iPhone. I personally don't understand why there aren't more sorting features. I think it is absolutely necessary to have some kind of star rating, not just a favorite, because I really don't care about favorites. I think a 5-star rating ability should be standard in the normal phone apps, because it makes it so much easier to kind of go through pictures by quality. Now I have the picture opened in Lightroom, and then I can start cropping, or I also have the ability to make the other changes. As mentioned, if you took the picture with Lightroom, you can also have the raw capabilities. Let's dive right in and do some changes. For example, let's say I want to have, again, we have presets, not as many, and I personally don't really like them. Like, there are a couple, but it's really not that much. Maybe a flat, or what are the effects? No. I'm really not that keen on the standard camera effects on Lightroom here. You can do a couple of things. You can make the shadows warmer stuff. Let's say that I want to use this one. So I can also use this optics thing, which is also from the normal Lightroom. You can have the camera and lens corrections, which I find very interesting, because here you don't really see much, but in the corners it changes a little bit. Then you can do the color changes. You can also have a color picker to make the white balance match the picture, or you can use this crazy little hue and saturation changer. On top of that, you can have obviously the lights changing stuff. You have the normal exposure, you have the contrast. You can change the light, the shadows and stuff like that. I think working with this in Snapseed is much more elegantly by just swiping up and down on the picture, and you cannot do this here. What you can do here is you can also use the curves, but just as you've seen in the last minute, I just found out that they have curves in the Snapseed as well, and the Snapseed curves actually have presets which are incredible. So you can use them here as well. You can change it around and make some very interesting changes. I think curves are very, very strong because you can make subtle changes to certain areas of the picture in a certain lightness. So you can, for example, make a dark sky or stuff like that. And you can make this faded look by just pulling up the blacks. But as mentioned, Snapseed, really, really good implementation. I've never seen it before, but it's incredibly good. So yeah, with Lightroom, you can actually do many things, and you can organize your pictures, you can sync them back to your computer, and the editing capabilities are really good, especially in terms of the raw editing. If you take the photos straight in Lightroom, it's really powerful and I like it. Once you're done with the picture, you can either go right back, or you can just hit this little share and save to camera roll, for example. And then I always do maximum available because I don't really care about the storage space, but I do care about the picture quality. After I've saved my picture, I normally just delete the pictures because I don't like to have all of them in here, because I already have them in the camera roll and I don't need them in two different places. Again, when I'm sharing a picture in general, I do it from the Photos app, or I go into Instagram and just select my photo right there. Now we have this edit, we have the edit I made on the computer, and we have the edit I made on the phone, which is right here with Snapseed. Now the last edit I wanted to make is the edit with VSCO Cam, so I just take this photo and I import it into VSCO Cam. The thing with VSCO Cam is they have a very strong community, and many of those people take really good pictures and they share them in their own little bubble here. But I really don't use the VSCO Cam network, I just use the filters in this app. And for some of them, they are free. Then you can also check the store. Sometimes there are free packages, or you buy packages, or you buy all of them. I think there's a bundle package that just gives you all the filters they offer in this app. So now I go into this photo and I go into the editing mode. The thing here is the direction is the other way around. You don't edit your photo first and then apply the filters. You apply the filter first and edit after. Or you edit your picture in, for example, Snapseed or Lightroom, and then you bring it over to VSCO Cam, which I do very often because I like the capabilities of Snapseed or Lightroom in those areas very much. But the filters of VSCO Cam are just incredible. So I bring the photo in after I have made my first fixes. So now I can go through here and I have a very fast way to look at different styles of photos, different filters, and as you can see, I have quite a lot of them. There was a time when I liked T1 very, very much, but by now I think it's way too faded. So the ideas behind filters change, and the feelings towards filters change, I guess. So now I have some more or some other filters. Let's see if there is one that I like with this photo. I like the blues in this one here. Whoops. So let's see, I liked A1, A5. So I like the photo here, and then you can obviously go back here, down here to the left, you have the filters, then you have the editing. So you can increase the brightness here, you can increase the contrast if you want, or decrease it, make it a little more faded. And then there's actually the fading. So I personally really like fading. You can crop the picture. For example, let's make a 1 by 1 out of this. Yes, like this. Highlight, save. Well, this doesn't do much on this one. Shadows, I already have those really nicely. Then a little bit of grain maybe. Very nice. And then I'm done. After I'm done here, I can also export the photo to the camera roll. Again, actual size is the one I choose almost all the time because file size doesn't really matter. And then I delete the photo in most cases, because I like my VSCO cam clean and I don't use it for much else besides photo editing and using the filters. So now you have seen the 3 apps I use for photo editing. I hope this will help you increase the photo quality of your mobile phone editing. I definitely would recommend you to download VSCO Cam and Snapseed. The basic versions of both are free. Snapseed is completely free and VSCO Cam offers paid filters, but you can choose those later. Now, what kind of apps do you use for your photo editing on your mobile phone? Please let me know in the comments down below. Also, feel free to share your Instagram link. I want to see what you're sharing. And then leave this video a like if you found it very useful. Share it with a friend who could use some mobile phone editing skills. And subscribe to the channel for more daily videos on topics surrounding photo editing, tech, or anything else I'm interested in. See you in the next video and have a nice day until then.